A masked gender activist totally drops the ball and fumbles it and fails after he tries to step up and tell Charlie Kirk that he is actually mistaken in his belief that men are men and women are women and that you can't just magically change your sex. How crazy of Kirk to think. Guys, this is gonna be a fun video. I think you're gonna enjoy it. Fair warning, the guy's wearing a mask, you know, so you kind of sounds like transgender, non-binary. You know, it's a little cringe, but that's okay. You know, we're here for it. We enjoy that. It's kind of entertaining, right? So we're gonna get right into the video. I think you're gonna enjoy it, but first, everybody, make sure you like the video, share it around, and subscribe to the Resist the Mainstream video channel. Why subscribe? So of course you can bring more videos of these guys going, you know how it is, guys. So please go ahead and do that. We appreciate it. As always, I'm your host, Darian, and let's get right into the video.
Hi, Charlie. Earlier you were talking about sex and gender, there only being sex, gender not existing. I was wondering, like, how you define male and female, and like what criteria you use to define them.
XX and XY chromosomes.
Okay. So with like intersex people then who might be born with like XX chromosomes, but they have
An exception to the rule, right?
Yeah. So
one in every 25,000 cases, yeah. But that doesn't make the rule any less true. It's like saying if you see someone with an amputated leg, you say, oh wow, that's not normal, but you still have something normal to compare that to. It doesn't make that the rule.
Yeah, I guess, so my question is more like, if somebody then does have like XX chromosomes, but they're born with like male anatomy, or male anatomy.
So they're intersex.
Yeah, so would that person be male to you or female?
So if they're XX chromosomes with male anatomy,
yeah.
How common is that?
It depends on like the specific, I think that one's Turner syndrome. So that can be like in 1 in 500 boys to like 1 in 2,500 boys.
How do you think they should identify?
I personally, in those cases, you know, like you say that there's only sex, but I personally think that those people should be able to identify how they want to identify, because it's, you know, like, would you say that that's like an unclear circumstance, or?
Well, I think that their chromosomes are rather clear, right?
Yeah. So
and they have displaced genitalia.
Yeah.
Correct?
Well, I don't okay. But so you would want them then to present as female, even though
well, it's not a matter of what I want them to present; it's what they are.
Yeah. So they should.
And wait, did you say 1 in 500 cases?
Yeah.
That's insanely made up. I got to be honest. Like that, you said 500,000 or 500?
500.
No way. That's yeah.
Yeah.
It's what? Yeah. So 1 in 3,000 is more accurate. Okay.
All right, we can use 1 in 3,000. So
I looked it up myself. I found about 2,500. Obviously 3,000 is not that far off.
Oh, just a factor of 6, but yeah.
So then do you think that those people who are, you know, they have male anatomy, they should wear dresses, present femininely?
What is their hormonal makeup? I'm curious.
Those people would have like male, like testosterone. So they
would have more testosterone than estrogen.
Yeah, in those cases.
Yeah, I'd have to think about that actually. Yeah, I'd have to think about that.
So
but the fringe case should not dictate the rule.
Well,
and that's the point.
But
that fringe cases in any scenario, whether it be rape, incest, and abortion, or intersex with trans issues, is not the heat or the heart of the debate at all. In fact,
Amen. It is so true. This hyperfixation and focus people have on talking about the fringes and exceptions, it just doesn't make any sense. Another example of this that I'd like to invoke here is that of the debate about marriage, and to a lesser extent, gender, right? We have this idea of so-called same-sex marriage that people push now, saying that two people of the same sex can get married. Now, personally, I don't believe that, nor did anyone for just about all of human history up until about, like, I don't know, 10 minutes ago. Let's not forget that Barack Obama was against gay marriage while in office. Okay, that's a fact, one that people very much like to forget. One of the points I'll make when talking about this, whether marriage should be between a man and a woman or left to be for whoever, or as many would argue, 2 men or 2 women, I'll say, well, and the whole point of a marriage is to encourage the development of the nuclear family, right? That is to say, A husband and wife come together with the ultimate goal of forming a family, raising a family, bearing children. People will often say, oh, well, that's ridiculous to say. They're a woman who can't give birth. What about them? Once again, the exception does not define the rule. If a woman can't give birth, that's an abnormality. It is not within the norm. It's not to insult her. That's not to demean her. That's just the reality of it. If anything, I feel for her. I'm sorry that she can't have that child. Sorry for her and her husband. That is obviously a very painful thing for some couples when they have the intended goal of bearing children. Just as it wouldn't be incorrect to say that man and woman generally get married with the purpose of having a family. That's what it's for, even if some woman can't do it despite wanting to. It would not be crazy for me to say that the average human has 10 fingers and 10 toes. Can you imagine if I made that a statement as a definitive claim and someone comes up to me and says, nuh-uh, this guy has 9 fingers. That guy has 11 fingers. That guy has 12 toes. Therefore, you're wrong. Humans don't have 10 fingers and 10 toes. Once again, the exception does not define the rule. When we're talking about these types of topics, we have to speak in a general sense. That requires some level of generalization. What does that mean? It means you talk about what most people are going to be doing or feeling or being. It really is that simple. And I don't know why that's such a hard concept for people to grasp. All this to make the point that focusing on a fringe case that's extreme, or even a case that's maybe not as extreme but exceedingly rare, it doesn't make any sense and it distracts from the main point that's being discussed at hand. And frankly, that just makes for an unproductive and kind of stupid discussion, and it's just wasting our time.
In fact, if I understand correctly, the study on intersex, again, it's somewhat of a distraction of the few fringe cases that there can be at the young age, like surgery that actually ends up helping based on the hormonal makeup. Is that not right?
I think it's better when they're adults to have certain procedures like that done. I think it can lead to issues when it's done when they're younger, but I do think that there are.
So then if you think that, do you think anatomy has anything to do then with determining biological sex?
When you said determining biological sex, do you mean in how we define sex, or
I'm just curious. Again, I just want to reiterate. We don't have.
He means man or woman, dude. All right, that's what he means. Why is this some kind of complicated discussion?
15% of high school girls in America that are quote unquote non-binary because of intersex issues. We have 15% of high school girls saying they're non-binary because it's a social contagion that is infecting people that are perfectly normal and healthy with XX and XY perfectly functioning genitalia systems. That's the real issue. And so, while I acknowledge this is incredibly murky and I need to think about it, this is a rare disease to muddy the issue up that biological reality needs to continue to exist regardless of somebody's own personal imagination.
Yeah, I think so. From my understanding of sex, reproductive biologists don't necessarily use chromosomes. They use what gametes you produce, what sex cells, so sperm or ovary. But I don't know that.
Let me try to find some common ground here,
yeah.
Okay? So when the Biden government comes out and they say that men can take drugs to lactate and chest feed, do you think we've probably gone too far?
I haven't seen Biden say that.
That's okay. He didn't. His government did. But I'm just trying to find some common ground because when the government says that how about this? When the government calls women that are pregnant birthing people, do you think we're probably going too far?
We are ruled by idiots, guys. You can't make this up. It's so dumb. You think Charlie is making it up as some right-wing propaganda or whatever, but no, the Biden administration really is that stupid. Unbelievable.
I think I'd have to ask you more questions about what you believe because I don't know.
It's pretty simple and transparent.
Yeah,
I believe what people have believed for 5,000 years, that there's man and woman and that you can't pretend to be something that you're not. I also believe what 99% of Americans believe. So it's really not that complex. But the fact you can't immediately answer gets right to the point of this, which is that we have this radical ideology that has infected every major part of American society. And I don't think we should be focusing on fringe issues or fringe cases when it's literally staring us in the face and it's a social contagion that is resulting in tens of thousands of people chopping off their genitalia to create irreversible damage for the rest of their life. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
In all seriousness, I love that Charlie brings up that it's harming tens of thousands of people. And I know this number is real. Maybe it's even more than that. I don't know. I've seen people in my own life who've been personally affected by this, and that really pains me to say that and think about that. But it's true. It's a very wicked and pernicious ideology, this whole idea of, oh, don't accept your gender. Be deluded. You can be something else. It's all good. It leads people down a path of chaos, misery, and destruction. I don't want that for anybody, and you shouldn't either. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed the video. Please be sure to comment below. Let us know what you liked, what you didn't, and we'll see you guys again soon. Thank you, and God bless.